Autofocus for cameras has gotten really good over the last few years. Most camera brands nowadays can use face detection and you can stay in focus your whole video, or you can keep whatever you want in focus the whole video. And that has absolutely helped a ton of people, and what Lewitt has tried to do is implement a similar concept into a microphone. So today I'm going to be talking about the first microphone ever that has been marketed as having autofocus for your voice. The microphone I'm talking about is the one I'm using. This is the Lewitt Ray, or as I like to call it, the Ray Lewitt, because it kind of sounds like Ray Lewis. He had a problematic history, but he was a great linebacker. That's for all the audio people that watch football, all 5 of you. So there you go. But good old Ray Lewitt right here has a technology in it called Aura. And essentially there are sensors on the front of this microphone that will keep your voice in focus. So whether I get further away from the microphone or I get really close to the microphone, it's going to keep that level the same. On the front of this microphone, there is a little distance indicator that will show you how far away you are from it. So as you get closer, the lights toward the bottom are going to light up, and as you get further away, the light toward the top is going to light up. If someone were to approach me and tell me about this microphone, I would instantly think, okay, this is a USB microphone with DSP on it and everything, but that's actually not the case here. We are working with an XLR exclusive microphone, which I think is absolutely awesome that they're able to use technology like this in an XLR mic. So this is actually a true 1-inch condenser microphone, and it has the same capsule as the LCT 440 Purr from Lewitt. I have a review of that on my channel that I'll link below, and I also have a comparison between the 440 and the 240 Pro. Now when it comes to pricing, the Lewitt 440 Purr usually comes in at about $289, where the Ray Lewitt is going to come in at $349. So essentially what you're getting with Ray is the 440 Purr plus the Aura technology that keeps your voice in focus. But in addition to this microphone adjusting the gain based off of the distance you're away from it, this microphone can also mute based off of the distance you're away from it. And with that being said, this also does have a mute button on the front of it, which an XLR condenser microphone that has a mute button built into it, that's cool on its own. So you can very easily mute this microphone just by pressing the mute button on the front. Or if you want the microphone to mute you, if you get this far away from it, what you can do is hold the mute button down until it starts blinking. And then once that stops blinking, it has set that distance, and any time you are that distance away or further, the microphone will automatically mute. So for instance, if I take a step back, it's going to mute me, like a closer distance, and now I am unmuted. Now with this mute indicator, it will still show you what distance away from the microphone you are at, and it will also show you a little indication of how far away you'll need to be for this to mute automatically. So right now you can see the little red line and where it's going to mute me, and then I am closer, and that's the white line. If I were to move back into the area where it's going to mute me, that white line will disappear, and if I keep going back, it'll show a second red line of where I'm at. Now you don't have to use the mute by distance feature at all, and you actually don't even have to use the Aura feature at all. But if you get this microphone set up exactly the way you want and you have the mute by distance perfect, you can actually lock those settings by holding both buttons down for 3 seconds. But I do want to make it abundantly clear, this saying it's autofocus for your voice is absolutely true, but there is a little asterisk to that. Now with microphones, as you get further away from them, you're going to have to turn the gain up on the interface to make your voice as loud as it was before when you were closer. So the Ray Lewitt is essentially doing that in the microphone. But when you turn the gain up on an interface, you're going to hear a higher noise floor level. And the same is true with Ray. Let me show you a quick example. So right now I'm about 30 inches from the microphone. And what I'm going to do is put my hand up, and my hand will be about 5 inches from the microphone. And I'll show you the noise floor difference from being 30 inches away to 5 inches away with my hand. I'll show you it once without boosting the audio in post, and then I will show you it with the audio boosted in post. So now I'm going to stop talking so you can hear the noise floor level change. So you can hear a notable difference in the noise floor level, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing, it's just something to take note of. This doesn't have a noise gate built in, and it doesn't bring the noise gate up when you get further away or anything, it just simply turns the gain up. But one other very important thing to note is when you get further away from the microphone, the room sound is going to be introduced even more. So the sound of the microphone is very focused on my voice right now. But as I back up, you can hear a little bit of the room sound get into the microphone. If I was in a completely untreated room, this would be way more noticeable. Let's do that. Here is how Ray Lewitt sounds in a completely untreated room, a very reverberant room, but as you can tell, the microphone is still very focused on my voice. But if I were to take some steps back and continue talking, you'll gradually hear more of that reverb from this very large untreated room enter the microphone. So right now, I'm at the furthest distance that the Ray will actually detect me, which from my measurement is about 38 inches, but there might be a little bit of leeway there. But if I get a little bit closer to the microphone and keep talking, you'll gradually hear it focus more on my voice, less on the room. That's just naturally how a microphone like this is going to respond. But when it comes to this boosting the signal and everything and making your voice level, as well as the room introduction, maybe the best example I could give you is in relation to cameras and lighting, since we are talking about autofocus for your voice. For instance, I have a light right here, and it is very focused on me. It's lighting up my face. If I were to take some steps back, that light would be less intense on me. And in order to compensate for that and expose for my face, in the camera, I would need to turn the ISO up, also called gain sometimes. With the ISO in a camera, if you gradually turn it up, the image is going to become grainy. It's going to become noisy. And in this situation, it's very similar. The microphone is the light, and the interface is the camera. That gain on the interface or on the camera is going to need to be turned up, so the level for my voice or the lighting on my face is the same. And in this instance, it doesn't have a noise gate built in, or for like a camera, noise reduction. These aren't necessarily bad things, it just means that there won't be as much focus on my voice and there will be a little bit more noise in the recording. So if you were planning on getting this microphone and using it like it is some sort of amazing shotgun microphone that gets rid of noise and can be far away and capture the same signal, that's just not the case. But what the Ray can do, it does it well and it definitely delivers. I just hope that some people don't have a different expectation for it. But now that we've talked about the Aura technology quite a bit, let me go ahead and briefly tell you what comes with this microphone. If you have the 440 Pure or know what comes with it, you'll recognize everything. The Lewitt Ray comes with a shock mount. It also comes with a magnetic pop filter that attaches to that shock mount. If you don't want to use that pop filter, it also does come with a foam windscreen. It does come with a 5/8 to 3/8 inch microphone stand adapter. It also includes a Lewitt leather storage pouch, a cable tie, some stickers, a box that can actually work as a microphone stand. It even has a little hole that the cable can come out of, as well as some documentation. Now, since this comes with all of the same accessories as the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure and even comes with the same capsule, let's go ahead and do a quick sound test with each of them. Now, I was really curious if the 440 Pure was going to sound the same as the Ray. Sometimes even if a microphone has an identical capsule, they will do some tweaking. So here's just a real quick back and forth between the 440 Pure and the Lewitt Ray. Just see if they sound exactly the same. Now, as another quick sound comparison, I'm going to put these two side by side and show you when I back up how different the Ray sounds from the 440 and how much it levels out my voice. Right now I'm 3 inches away from the Lewitt Ray, and I'm also 3 inches away from the 440 Pure. Now I am 6 inches away from the Lewitt Ray and 6 inches away from the 440 Pure. Now I'm talking at the same level, 1 foot away from the Lewitt Ray and 1 foot away from the Lewitt 440 Pure. Now I am 2 feet away from the Lewitt Ray and 2 feet away from the 440 Pure, talking at the same level. Now I'm going to basically be out of the camera shot, but I am 3 feet away from the Lewitt Ray and 3 feet away from the 440 Pure. And just as a quick example, here is the Ray at 3 feet away, and now I'm going to boost the gain on the Lewitt 440 Pure to match this exactly, and now we'll do a quick noise floor comparison between the two. I would assume they're going to be pretty identical, but I'm just curious. I'll just briefly run through some tests with this. I already have done some tests, like for instance, a proximity test as well as a distance test. I mean, we've kind of done that a few times already, so That's the proximity and distance. Since it does come with two forms of plosive protection, I'm not going to do a plosive test without one of them in front of it. If they have it, they recommend you use it. So I'll do a quick test with the pop filter and then a quick one with the windscreen. Planters pickled peanuts. Planters pickled peanuts. And just to see if the windscreen affects the tone of the microphone, here is with the windscreen on. And now I am the same distance away with the magnetic pop filter on. And now I have neither the pop filter or the windscreen on. But if you're a gamer considering buying the Ray, here's how it sounds when I type on a very loud MX Cherry Blues keyboard directly behind the microphone. Now I will briefly turn off the Aura technology and do a white noise test so you can hear the polar pattern. Now for anyone that's thinking about buying this, maybe this will matter to you. When it comes to those distance indicators, they're roughly in increments of 6 inches. There's a little bit of a gap on some of them, but roughly that first bar is from 0 to 6 inches, second 6 to 12, third 12 to 18, and so on and so forth through these 6 different bars. But I do think it is kind of a nice thing to know that and to be able to judge the distance you are away from the microphone. Now, I've got to say this next test is the most important test always. Let's go ahead and do a kitty purr test. Approved. Hey! Before we do a guitar test, I am going to just strum a chord consistently and walk toward Ray Lewitt over here and just see how it responds to the guitar. In my opinion, I'm not sure if having Aura on for guitar takes is a really good idea. I think you could get some fluctuation and gain that you really don't want. But we'll test the Aura out real quick with it, and then we'll do a guitar test without Aura. So now I'm just going to do some very quick back-to-back comparisons. I'm starting with the Ray right here, and during this comparison section, I'll be 6 inches away from every microphone, and it'll be going into the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 4th generation. Now, two very important aspects of a comparison like this is sound quality and price point. But I feel like these microphones are some that people would ask to be compared to Ray. So I'm just going to go through and introduce each microphone, and then I will just do some fast cuts back to back for each mic so you can hear them all against each other. Now we are talking into the Rode NT1 5th generation. The NT1 5th gen is a little bit different than the Ray in the sense that it is an XLR USB microphone, and it also does come in $100 cheaper than Ray. But the reason I'm including it is because the 440 Purr and the NT1 4th generation were always in competition. But much like the Lewitt Ray, the NT1 5th gen does have a couple tricks up its sleeve. It does have the USB connection and XLR, but also built-in DSP. Now I have the Lauten Audio LA220 version 2 plugged in. This microphone usually goes for about $359, but currently is on sale for $300. On the mic, it does have a couple switches, a low pass and a high pass filter. I just enabled the high pass filter on this microphone, and now I have enabled the low pass filter. And for microphones like this that are more musician oriented, having those filter switches is really nice. Here is the Lewitt LCT 240 Pro, the younger brother to the 440 Purr. This microphone currently only goes for about $119, which I think is a very good deal for this microphone. One of the biggest differences between the 440 Purr, the Ray, versus the LCT 240 Pro is the size of the capsule. This capsule is a 17mm electric capsule, not a true condenser 1-inch capsule like the 440 Purr. So it doesn't have that big 1-inch true condenser capsule sound, but it does have a very inexpensive price and pretty good sound quality. Now, when you see this microphone on screen, you might be wondering what the hell I'm doing right now, but I promise I have a reason. I feel like Ray Lewitt over here is going to be talked about by a lot of podcasters, voiceover artists, and just spoken word people in general, and a popular microphone in that space is the Shure SM7b. So it might not be a competitor in the sense that it's a condenser microphone, but I do think some people would be curious how it sounds against the Ray. For the SM7b, I think it does a little bit better when you're closer to it, so I wanted to give it a fair shot. I'm actually 4 inches away from this microphone, but as you may already know, this microphone comes in at $399. Once again, here is the sound of Ray Lewitt. I am 6 inches away from this microphone. Here is the sound of the Rode NT1 5th generation when I'm 6 inches away from it. Here is the sound of the Lauten Audio LA220 version 2 that is currently coming in at $300. Here's a quick sound sample of the Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. Here's another test with the microphone that's $50 more than the Ray. This is the SM7b. Here's the sound of the $349 Lewitt Ray. Once again, here is the sound of the Lauten Audio LA220 going into the Focusrite 2i2. Here's an additional audio test for the Shure SM7b when I am 4 inches away from it. Here is the $249 Rode NT1 XLR USB hybrid microphone. Here's another quick sound test for the Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. One last time, here's the sound of Mr. Ray Lewitt. Now, when it comes to my opinion of the Lewitt Ray, I am just really happy that Lewitt came out with this microphone, that they tried something different, and that they tried innovating. Just, went outside the box. That's awesome. With all the companies putting out just tiny little upgrades to products, it's really cool to see a microphone that came out and just went all in and did something wildly different, something that's never been done before. I hope to see more innovative and creative ideas coming from all companies in general and Lewitt. Now, with that being said, I think the Ray is a fantastic product that works really well. It actually works better than I expected it to, honestly. And this might sound a little bit weird, but I don't think anyone's issues with this microphone are going to come from the actual microphone. It's going to be an expectation that they had in their mind, and they just didn't understand the product. The sensors on the front of this microphone don't have mouth detect like cameras have eye detect. It doesn't know the difference between your face hole, your cat, or your hand. So if you talk with your hands a lot and you move them up pretty high, you can hear that just jumping up and down. And that's just something to be aware of if you do talk with your hands. Now, when it comes to live streams or when I do like members only podcasts, one thing that I would urge you to do is if you really don't plan on using the mute by distance feature, that in that situation, you do use it regardless. The reason why is if you don't do that and you ever walk away from the microphone, which I sometimes do during my members only podcast to go grab a product really quick. In that situation, it will assume I went the furthest distance away and the noise floor level will spike up. So it's really good that they have that mute by distance feature, but if it's a feature you didn't think you'd need to use, you may want to use it. But when it comes to the Ray Lewitt and Ray Lewis for that matter, the build quality is just incredible. The microphone is built super well, the metal pop filter is great. The shock mount does have some plastic on it, but it's not bad. So I feel like the Ray and the 440 Purr sound essentially the same. So if you like the sound of the 440 Purr, you'll like the sound of this. One of the big notes about the 440 Purr and some Lewitt microphones in general is that they do tend to have the high frequencies boosted a bit. Now, if you have a very high voice that tends to sound harsh with microphones, that may not be good for you. But I will say if you get the Ray as well as a Lewitt Connect interface, like right now I'm using the Connect 6, it does come with DSP and you can just bring those treble frequencies down if you need to. But if you absolutely love the features of the Ray and you think it'd be very useful for you, I think even if you didn't love the sound, you could make it work with some EQ. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan for my voice of high-end boosted microphones, but I feel like I could absolutely make this work, no problem, with a little bit of EQ. Now, I would absolutely recommend this microphone to content creators and podcasters. I think that distance technology is really cool. However, I don't necessarily think it's like essential or really even necessary for musicians. It could be nice for some people, but the thing is like it's not going to lower the gain if you're the same distance away and you get too loud, and it's also not going to raise the gain if you're the same distance away and you get quieter. This technology just seems to be meant for spoken word and distance. Not so much, handling dynamic singers. Because right now, from this distance, I could absolutely clip this microphone. It's not a limiter that is built in or anything like that. And I'm going to make this review section sound a little bit more positive now. The BB-SAR rating I'm going to give this is a 9.5. And you might be wondering, why not a 10? It's so innovative, it's really cool and everything. And really the only drawback that I have of this is the sound of it. Not that I don't like the sound of it, I just would think it'd be nice if it was a little bit more flat sounding so it could sound good on more voices. But don't get me wrong, people love a hyped high end. They adore it. So you'll probably like it. But to contradict my point, I do think this is more for spoken word and content creation where a baked in sound might be more ideal. But if you are looking at getting the Ray and you don't have an audio interface, I will say look at the Connect line of interfaces. I think that you could really get the most out of this microphone with one of those interfaces. But thank you all for watching this review of the Ray Lewitt. I hope it helped you out and helped you decide if you want to get one of these or not. But most of all, hope you had fun. And I want to give a big thank you to all of the Audio Hotline members out there. You are all the best. The next best people are the ones that subscribe. You guys are all fantastic. Not as good as the members, but close, but super close. And then a little bit lower than subscribers. Just anyone that watches this, also thank you. You're also great, but just less great. It's like a food chain, essentially, but people that watch this. But I'll see all you audio nerds next time.